Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new malicious compliance content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, Tell Them What They Want to Hear. Okay, boss. This happened about 20 years ago. I'm a professional engineer, PE. Back in the day when I first got my license, I worked for a real nice but sometimes ethically challenged man, boss. He had a staff of about 35. His PE work was always on point, but some of his business practices were kinda suspect. He got into IRS trouble a couple times, mostly just for bad bookkeeping. His bookkeeper was his failed out of business school the 1 street year daughter. She also answered phones in the mornings, working 20 hours a week. Most of the staff was engineers and drafters. We had some field workers too. We hired daughter's hubby for field work when he lost his laborer's job. Both of them were better at drinking than working. I had been with the company several years and loved it. I got to do engineering most of the time as we had great clients on long-term projects that always sent work our way. That also meant we would bend over backwards to get projects done on budget whenever possible. No drama. We loved it and so did our clients. I had a reputation at the company as the go-to guy for anything. Computer or network issues, someone crashed a company car, where'd we put the left-handed scissors? I could help or knew the right person to see. I also had the boss's ear and could be direct and honest with him like no one else. One nice early fall morning the boss calls, heading to city, I'll be in tomorrow. Odd but okay. Few minutes later, daughter calls, I'm coming in at 2 p.m. today. Okay, at least she's not calling out sick again. Next, daughter's hubby calls in. Cough, cough, he says. Yeah, right. Annoying and childish but no skin off my back. Until, at 9:45 a.m. the boss calls. I need you to take a meeting for me at 10 with the State Department of Labor. Besides the fact I don't do payroll or bookkeeping or hiring or human resources, I can listen, pull files and try to answer. Tell them what they want to hear. Will do, boss. At 10 sharp 3 suits show up. Not 1 or 2 but 3 guys with briefcases and files. Now I'm curious. We enter a conference room. Where is Mr. Boss, Ms. Daughter and Mr. Hubby? Called out sick. We're from the Investigator General's Office, OIG, and we're looking into charges of unemployment insurance fraud, wire fraud and tax fraud. Holy shit. As a professional licensed by the state, my PE is valuable. Lying to a state entity or being charged with a crime could mean the loss of my license. It's doubtful I'd earn even half of my PE salary. I am not screwing myself just because they were too chicken to show up. Once I explained to the OIG that I'm just an engineer and the boss's go-to guy but I have nothing to do with payroll, etc., they're pissed but not at me. Just get us your records and tell us the truth. Hey, like the boss said, tell them what they want to hear. After 3 hours of timesheets, payroll reports and more, the OIG and I figured out daughter's hubby was collecting unemployment insurance while working for us and daughter was adding his hours to her paycheck. Now I get why they all were out that day. After all was said and done, daughter paid a fine, hubby had to pay back all his unemployment plus penalties and interest and the boss acted like he had no idea what was going on even though he signed the fraudulent paychecks. To my great surprise I wasn't fired. But there was no way I was gonna risk my career for the boss's shady business. Next one is titled, Okay, I will ring you when I get in every day. Let me preface this by saying I've worked my current job for a decently long time and have never had a customer complaint until this guy. I work as a showroom consultant at a bathroom and kitchen shop. Nothing snazzy but it's fun to talk to people and design with them. People are always happy and excited. This happened last year. One day a lovely middle-aged lady comes in. She wants a spa bath that will fit her and her husband. We find one that's affordable. I give her a hefty discount because I can and also she was a great person. I like to do that. I let her know because it's a custom-built spa, it's going to take 3 weeks. No stresses. 3 weeks later, the spa arrives, however it has arrived without its headrests. The supplier lets us know there's a back order on headrests, ETA unknown, COVID shipping delays. They've supplied different headrests as an apology and will send the correct color when stock is replenished. Well, it's fine, it's just a cosmetic thing. I ring wife to let her know it's in, there's a delay, and to arrange delivery. No issues. She's happy with her bath and even rings again to thank me. I ring once a fortnight to update them on the headrests. It's really unknown when they're coming. Now it's been over 2 months and it's a bit ridiculous. I acknowledge that, but there's nothing anyone can do. None left anywhere, trust me, I tried. I like to help people out. We're just having to wait. In the meantime, there's nothing stopping them using the bath. Hell, the spa came with headrests that were a different color as a courtesy. He was just waiting for a different color. One day, husband comes in. I'm not in the shop that day. He starts yelling and threatening, throwing his weight around and telling us we only care about taking his money, and now that we've got it we don't care, etc. He submits a formal complaint, telling us we didn't keep him well informed or updated of stock issues. It's assessed. Yet again he mentions he wasn't kept in the loop and we don't care. He says he wants to be told daily of the progress of his headrests, as soon as I walk in the door because he is a priority. In true malicious compliance form, every day at 6 a.m., as soon as I walked into the shop, I would ring the supplier for an ETA, then at 6:15 I would ring him, "Good morning. Just ringing to let you know that your headrests haven't arrived. Have a great day." 3 months of daily phone calls, the shipping delay was over and he finally got to change his white headrests to black. Next one is titled, "Ask for Rain Gear, Lose Paid Breaks." So back in college some 15 years ago, I was working at a big blue hardware store as one of the guys that did all of the extra loading that customers asked for, plywood, 20 boxes of tiles, a new fridge, etc., as well as collect the 7 different types of carts from the parking lot and bring them back to the proper part of the store. Pretty basic job, but since it was a warehouse store, it paid like $1 more than normal retail, so the jobs were coveted a bit more than normal. A bit of backstory before the MC. This all happened in Florida, which is known for extreme heat and daily storms in the summer that last about an hour. One day, a storm was clearing up, but still sprinkling, and one of the head cashiers, who was my manager, said that it was clear enough and she needed all of the carts brought back inside immediately. I was annoyed and complained that it was still raining. So cue malicious compliance. If I was expected to get carts in the rain, I need a raincoat per safety guidelines. We just had the annual safety training and this was something I heard during it. I figured just the paperwork to get a raincoat would be enough to let me wait it out until the rain stopped, then I would go get carts and raincoat and get to finish my mini break. I mean, who would actually care enough to get me a raincoat? The other 2 guys just went and got started on carts, but the head cashier went to get the raincoat. Then came back with not a raincoat, but a full rain suit with pants and boots, gloves, everything short of a hazmat respirator. After all, that is what the safety guy said was needed. Took me a few minutes to put it on, but then I went and helped clean up the rest of the carts in the parking lot while acting like duck, bright yellow, for visibility is what I was told. Well, about 2 weeks later, there was a pretty bad storm, lasting few hours. After the first hour there wasn't much left to do inside and there were very few customers, so we were all just messing around in the break room. This was fairly normal as there weren't many customers, so once we got done with our work inside, if there was nothing else the store manager asked for, we were allowed to stay out of sight. Cue even more malicious compliance, which now was actually against me. Head cashier comes in and asks for the carts to be collected as it has been a few hours, so there are some outside. It's raining cats and dogs, but no lightning, so we are safe and able to work outside. Well, guess who's the only fool that has a company-issued rain suit that is able to handle this weather? Store manager follows in and points this lovely fact out as well. He wasn't too happy since it went against his staff supplies budget or something. So I get to play in the rain for the next hour or so, picking up the 4 to 5 carts that were taken outside. This continued for the rest of the summer. Any big storm I would dress up and just wander the parking lot while everyone else just sat in the break room until called for something inside. Another guy actually liked it and asked for his own rain suit, and we used to enjoy our water-soaked workdays. Next one is titled, "Shut Down My Bakery, You Say?" Sure. Sequel to Exactly 1 Pound, You Say? Sure. Firstly, a little recap. I'm a law student, graduating in less than a week actually. I run a part-time bakery from my home kitchen because it helps me distress in between the work, and I donate all proceeds to my charity, so it's also a way of raising funds. Mine is the only bakery in my entire locality, so it became super popular amongst the families in my area super fast, and everyone especially loves my tart cakes. Last month, this one lady demanded 1 pound of this tart cake for the 1 pound price, no more, no less. So I gave her exactly that, and she was not happy and vowed she would never buy from me again and make sure to tell everyone she knew not to either. For the sake of convenience, I will refer to her as EU going forward. Just a few days after this incident, I got infected with you-know-what. Thankfully, it wasn't a severe case, but my pre-existing health conditions did not help, and, at least for a week in there, I couldn't even sit up in bed. It just wrecks your body completely. I am still barely recovering. During that week, on one of the days when I had just a teensy bit more energy, I made one post on my Instagram blog about these breads that I baked before I tested positive, and my caption explicitly mentioned that I tested positive, that this was made before I went into quarantine. EU saw that post on Instagram, and I guess she didn't bother reading my caption. She repeatedly called me that day, constantly disturbing me and my rest till I gave in and picked up her call. Completely casual, no acknowledgement of our previous disagreement and her staunch vow to never support my business, she just went straight into it. "Hello. Yeah. I saw your photo of those breads on Instagram and they look really nice. I want a basket of it tomorrow morning." I told her that I am sick and quarantined, but also, I thought she was never going to buy from me again. She just laughed and said, no, those are just things one says. Please make those breads and send them over by tomorrow morning. So I told her again that I am sick with a highly contagious and deadly virus. I am not taking any orders right now. I heard her rant about today's generation as I hung up on her. She called me thrice over the period of my quarantine, each time for a different dish, and each time the conversation went the same. Apparently, she was okay with me making them because she has antibodies, but like, I am sick? And incapable of getting out of bed? Let alone bake? Like I also mentioned, I am graduating. I have a lot of assignments and exams ongoing, and they sort of piled up because I couldn't do anything for almost 3 weeks. On top of that, I am also recovering and it's not been easy, so I sent out a broadcast message saying I won't be taking any orders for May. Any baking I've done the last few days has been just stress busters and easy stuff that does not require a lot of effort. On Sunday, I made a baked eggless cheesecake, something I've had on my to-do list for the longest time, and made a very excited post about it on my blog because it came out perfectly. The post was barely up and EU called me. Sigh. I respond because it's just too much of a hassle to ignore her at this point. Child, I saw this mango cake type thing just now on Instagram. Can you make 1 pound? Yeah, she's still hung up on the 1 pound of that and 4 loaves of freshly baked bread for tomorrow. I want them by 8 a.m., just in time for breakfast. And I'm just gobsmacked because firstly, I don't take orders on such short notice. I need at least 48 hours so I can plan and prepare accordingly. Secondly, 4 loaves of bread by 8 in the morning means I would have to make them all night long, which I am definitely not doing. This is a part-time home bakery, not a bread factory. Third, she knows I'm not taking orders right now. So I told her all of this and boy, she was pissed. She started ranting about how unprofessional I am, how she's tried so many times to place orders with me but I'm highly irresponsible and losing out on so many orders, and then ended it all with, if you don't know how to run a bakery then close it and go back to doing whatever you were doing before. Here's the thing. I will officially be a lawyer in July. I knew when I started this wasn't a long-term thing. After I graduate, I will barely have time to bake, forget baking professionally. I was initially planning on doing this while I was still unemployed, but I figured I can dedicate a month or so to just the job hunt. So I sent out another broadcast message stating that XYZ Bakery will officially be closing after June, and I will no longer be taking orders, due to some recent negative feedback. One of my regular clients called me and wanted to express how sorry she was to hear, wanted the whole story. So I told her everything EU told me that day about being unprofessional and that I should shut down my bakery. My culture likes to infantilize my generation, and I played my part of the sweet young kid who was scolded by an older woman and had obviously taken the scolding to heart, because kids should always respect their elders. What I didn't know was that my regular and EU are sills. They're both married to 2 brothers, and live next door to each other. My regular complained to their Mill about EW's behavior, and Mill berated her heavily for behaving so rudely with a child. I'm 23, but as long as it works for me, and she should have more maturity as the adult. So today I got a call from EU with what is the typical adult way of apologizing. Child, why are you taking my words to heart? These are just things one says. I was only trying to help you be more professional and prepare you for the outside world. Don't close your bakery. I replied to her in a really innocent tone. No, Auntie, you were absolutely right. I shouldn't be baking. I should go back to law and focus on finding a job. I will do that. I won't take any more orders after June. My mum's friend who basically runs the gossip channel of the neighborhood told mum that EU is being blamed by all the ladies for shutting down the only bakery in our area, and she is no longer invited to their weekly Zoom Tambola evenings. Last one is titled, Karen gets a free ride but won't buckle up, enjoys a nice taxi ride home. This a few years ago, roughly 4. I worked at an office about a 45 minutes drive from my house, and I had a friend who worked in the office I would give a ride home to. It was on my way. I literally had to pass by her house to go to and from work, so it was no big deal. Well, a woman who worked in my office lived really close to her and found out about the arrangement and wanted in. She guilted my friend into asking me since it was on my way. I said okay. Well, at the same time my late husband's car was in the shop, so I would make a detour to pick him up, and he's a giant of a man, 6'3", and could not physically fit in the back. So to make things easier, my friend would just sit in the back. Well, the other woman, known as Karen, was a big woman, not tall but big. So on the way home, literally the first time she starts getting in the front, I explained to her she has to sit in the back. Well, we get to my husband's job site and I park and text. She jumps out of the car and gets into the front. I tell her to go back and straight up says no because the seatbelt in the back is too tight, it hurts her chest. I tell her it's too bad she can get out of, she doesn't like it. Well, she gets out and goes to the back seat. My husband gets there and climbs in. I start the car and the seatbelt warning light is on and beeping. She has the seatbelt off. I say you need to put the belt on. I am met with a no, I can't, it's easier if she's in front. Well, I say you're in back, we're not going anywhere until the belt is on. She crossed her arms like a child and says I guess we're not going anywhere. I tell her if she doesn't put the belt on she can get out and walk home. With a nice bit of snark she says, well, you better call me a taxi. That pissed off, and that's what I did. I called a taxi. She puts her belt back on, but I say it's too late, get out. You have a taxi coming. I say you can get out of my car now or the police will be happy to remove you. She gets out and her jaw almost hit the road as we drove away. Outside, my friend, I never let anyone from work in my car again. Thanks for listening.